In this next video, we're going to be talking about reporting, specifically the sales analysis report, one of the most common reports in Rick's Enterprise. When you're running reports, you can be at the top level organization at the top right, and that'll give you visibility to all of your stores. Or if you are a specific store and want to go to that store, you can change the organization to that store number. To get there from the home page, you're going to click on the Reporting tab up at the top, Sales, and Sales Analysis. This will bring you into the Sales Analysis screen. The first thing that you see is a report name. If you wanted to name this report when you set up all the parameters so it's saved that way, you can do so to the right of report name. In this example, I've done EOM for end of month dash supplier because we're going to sort this by supplier. The output method is defaulted to PDF. That's just your report format that you can look at. There's also the Excel and the CSV output. You have two tabs up at the top, Report Options and Report Criteria. We're going to start with Report Options. The first section is how do you want to sort the results in order of. You have SKU/selected report type, quantity sold, net sales, profit, ROI, turns, inventory value, and sell-through percent. We're going to do the SKU/selected report type on this example. The next part is what to analyze by. You can analyze by supplier, class, or custom entry/color. We're going to do supplier. The next section is how to display coupons. If you do not want to display coupons, there's none. There's a summary of coupons and a detail of coupons. We're going to choose none. And then the next part is what type of report do you want to run? The report type. Do you want it by SKU detail, where it lists out all the SKUs, class summary, custom entry/color summary, supplier summary, or price point summary? We're going to do supplier summary because we just want a list of the suppliers. The next part is how to value on-hand inventory. Do you want to look at the average cost, the current cost, markdown cost, or the active selling price? You can also choose two items. So if you wanted to look at average cost, you could click on average cost and then use the control and click active selling price, and that'll be your retail. So you can look at the value on hand for retail and average cost. The next part is as of what date do you want to value your inventory at? Do you want to look at what your on hand value is as of today, yesterday, last day of previous month, last day of previous year, last day of previous season, or a specific date? An example would be if you're running end of month reports for March and it's in April, you want to look at what your value was the last day of March. This is where you can select last day of previous month, and that'll tell you what your on-hand value was as of March 31st. Regardless if it's April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, etc. And there's also the checkbox if you have multiple stores and use the in-transit transfers, where you can check value in-transit inventory as on hand at the receiving store. Then there's a section on how to treat stores, if you want to look at it by separate stores, if you want to combine your stores, or if you want to compare your stores. So if you just have one store, you obviously would do separate stores. If you have multiple stores, you can choose any of these three items. You can use the date conditions if you like. There's date last received and date first received and age by, or you can leave it blank. This will tell you the items that were last received or first received from and to a period. The next part is what sale types would you like to include? Store sale, web sale, catalog sale, telephone, wholesale, and invoice. If you just strictly do store sales, then you can check store sale. Or you can check all of them if you'd like. This next part is the part for sales information. So the report column 1, you can look at the sales period. These are your options. Week to date, previous week, month to date, previous month, season to date, previous season, year to date, year to last month, previous year, last number of months, last number of weeks, last number of days, selected dates, yesterday, today, and on order. A great one to look at is the selected dates. This way, if you select that, you can put any date range that you want to look at for the sales. In this example, I'm going to look at last month, so I'm going to choose previous month, and it automatically fills in March 1st through March 31st. The report column 2 is something to compare to. If you're looking at this month for this year, you can compare it to this month last year, same dates previous year. There's also quite a few other selections here as well that you can choose from. Or if you just want to look at one report column, you can click on None. And then there's how would you like to show percentages. So show percentages by percent of store, percent of report, or no percents. Most people will choose percent of store, the default. Now we're going to click on the Report Criteria tab. Since I'm at the top level, this is why you see by store and by store date. So if you're at that top level, you can select different stores by store or by store state. If you're at that store level, say example store 1, you would not see these fields. Since we're running this report by suppliers and sorting it by suppliers, if you want to look at all of your suppliers, you would just leave everything blank on this screen for the report criteria. But if you wanted to look at a particular supplier and you were doing the report by SKU detail or by class, you could put in the supplier that you want to look at. So if you're trying to look at New Balance, you could choose New Balance in this section. You could choose multiple suppliers as well. You could do the same thing by class, by color, by SKU, by primary grid, by secondary grid. If you have any product custom entries, you can select those item or items. You can also exclude any of those. If you wanted to exclude suppliers, classes, colors, SKUs, etc., you could click on the Exclude checkbox to that, and that would exclude that supplier or class or color that you put in there. You could also do particular coupon codes. There's a section down at the bottom called Pricing if you wanted to only include SKUs at retail price. So if they did not have a markdown, you could check that, and it would just give you a report of just the items that were at retail. Or you can include only SKUs at markdown price, or include only SKUs with perks. If I set the exact parameters how I liked it and I wanted to save this report, what I had named it, I can click on the Save Report down at the bottom. Then at any point in time, I could come into the sales analysis and just click on the magnifying glass icon and select one of my saved reports, and it would come up on the screen, and then I could just run it. That way I wouldn't have to remember exactly how I like to report. You can edit a report name up at the top, or you can do a new saved report as well.